Hi everyone, this is Naren Saipatamas. I am Naren and it's time for a Super Sunday. And I know this Super Sunday comes a little late, but the only reason is that because I'm still at my cousin's place. I'll probably return home, in a few short hours. But with that being said, considering that, our you know, our first full weekend of 2026 has passed. What are some of the I did want to talk about, this Super Sunday about all of the things that, we are sort of required to do on weekends, right? We have to catch up on our sleep. We have to make sure if there is anything left at home, we have to complete that. Usually for people who are, in much more demanding occupations, especially, it is very important to pretty much, align yourself before um, the week starts. So I always wanted to know, what are certain mantras that you might chant. What are certain things that you probably tell yourself or you commit to doing over the weekend, especially on a Sunday, just to ensure that the Monday passes by a lot more smoothly than um, you know how people think of Mondays, right? And this, I know I have probably broached this topic before, but the reason I keep approaching these topics is because things change from time to time, and the most important thing that we need to consider when when we're getting ready is to pretty much align ourselves to like a certain homeostasis, if you may, right? Just to kind of know for a fact that, okay, whatever has happened or whatever that is going to happen is going to be more or less the same as it was last week, the previous week. So a lot of times, one thing that I tend to experience when I'm getting ready for the week, getting ready to start the week, is almost having this fear of becoming bored, right? Fear of boredom, right? And um, and so as a result, I keep having to at least change one thing or the other in a weekend once in a while, just to make sure that I can pretty much get back to my original weekend plans week by week, so that the the week, right, the entire week itself does not seem like it's a you know it's a daily slog, right? And I think a lot of people also feel that way. They try to change up what they do on weekends, because as you know, and I've mentioned this before, I'm a creature of habit. So usually what ends up happening with me is that if I build myself a certain schedule, I like to stay on that schedule, right? Day after day, week after week. So sometimes I do fancy going outside the norm, and just sort of refreshing that sense of saying, okay, yeah, I should go back to what my weekly schedule was, right? And when I say weekly schedule, I include um, days that have, you know, I include weekends in it as well, right? I mean, a lot of times what ends up happening is, if you have a certain um, weekend activity that you do, you tend to realize that, your weekends are also becoming a little too routine. So that is the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, considering I'm still at my cousin's house uh, on a Monday, something that I, usually would only do, Saturday and, leave on Sunday. So usually on Sunday nights, after, staying at my cousin's, you would see me back at home. But then this time around, it's changed a little bit, and I do need that, refresher in my, you know, weekly or weekend schedule pretty much this time around, just so I can ensure that, okay, whatever has been happening, like, yeah, that is, good, but there is no chance of me really getting bored of it or tired out of it or burnt out by it. um, so that is one thing that I did want to share with everyone. Do share, what are your thoughts about this? Do you sometimes like to shake up certain things, shake up your schedule so that you maybe appreciate the schedule that you built for yourself? Um, or do you sometimes like to divert from your schedule, right, in one way or another, right? I mean, a lot of times, at least, in certain places, you do have this ability to, have a hybrid work environment. Do you sometimes switch up the dates just to see what that feels like, so that when you go back to the original, you end up realizing something new, something different, something that you might not have thought of before? So yes, do share your thoughts, do share your experiences, do share your insights, because I would love to get the conversation started on this topic. And with that said, this is Nareen Saitamas. My name is Nareen, and considering it is still Sunday night somewhere, I do want to wish you a good night. I hope you had a great weekend. And yes, now we can actually say that 2026 has officially started, considering that we just finished our first full week of 2026. So, with that said, good night, everyone, sweet dreams, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.